This is a Mitsubishi Montero. If you see one today, it's usually in a Walmart parking lot, painted in fading beige with a baby on board sticker. It is the definition of a boring, slow, forgotten family hauler. But appearances are dangerous because underneath that soccer mom exterior lies the chassis of the most dominant race car in human history. This isn't an exaggeration. This truck didn't just win the Dakar Rally, the most brutal 6,000-mile torture test on the planet. It broke the sport. It won 12 times. It holds the Guinness World Record. It humiliated Porsche, destroyed Peugeot, and forced Volkswagen to spend hundreds of millions of dollars just to catch up. But if you live in America, you probably have no idea, because here it was sold under a witness protection program. You know it as the Montero, but the rest of the world knows its real name, the Pajero. Why the name change? Well, Mitsubishi's marketing team realized too late that in Spanish slang, Pajero means a man who enjoys his own company a little too much, a wanker. So, to avoid insulting half the planet, they changed the name. But frankly, they could have called it the pink fluffy unicorn, and it still would have crushed everything in its path. Let's go back to 1983. The Dakar Rally was basically a war zone without guns. You drove from Paris to Dakar through the Sahara Desert. We are talking about terrain that snaps axles like toothpicks and temperatures that boil brake fluid. At that time, the rally was ruled by European royalty. Porsche showed up with the 959, a futuristic million-dollar supercar lifted for the desert. It was fast, complex, and fragile. Mitsubishi, they showed up with a box, a modified version of their farm truck. Everyone laughed. Until the race started. While the Porsches were overheating and the Range Rovers were breaking down, the Mitsubishi just kept going. See, Mitsubishi realized something the others didn't. In Dakar, top speed doesn't matter if you can't finish. Reliability is the only metric that counts. But don't think this was just a dumb truck. The Pajero had a secret weapon that changed off-roading forever. It was called Super Select 4-wheel drive. In the 80s and 90s, 4-wheel drive was crude. In a Jeep or a Toyota, you had to stop the car to engage 4-wheel drive, and you couldn't use it on pavement or you'd bind the axles and destroy the drivetrain. Mitsubishi said, "That's stupid." They engineered a system with a viscous coupling center differential. This allowed you to shift from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive at speeds up to 62 miles per hour. Imagine you're racing at 80 miles per hour on a dirt road and you see a patch of soft sand. In a Toyota, you're in trouble. In the Pajero, you just slap the lever, engage all 4 wheels instantly, power through the sand, and shift back. Back to 2WD without ever lifting off the gas. It gave drivers options. It gave them speed. And it was decades ahead of its time. Then there was the suspension. This is where the car guys usually get angry. Off-road purists love solid axles. They are tough, simple, and ancient. Toyota Land Cruisers used them. Land Rovers used, but Mitsubishi took a gamble. They used independent front suspension. Critics said, "It's too weak. It'll break in the desert." Mitsubishi proved them wrong. Independent suspension meant each wheel could handle a bump separately. When you hit a rock at high speed in a solid axle truck, the whole vehicle bounces and you lose control. In the Pajero, the wheels soaked up the hit and the chassis stayed flat. This meant the Pajero wasn't just tough, it was fast over rough terrain. It could dance while the others were stumbling. But the absolute peak of this story happens in 1997. Racing rules changed. To compete in the production class, manufacturers had to sell road-going versions of their race cars to the public. This is called homologation. And because of this rule, Mitsubishi gave us the Pajero Evolution. This is the unicorn. Only about 2,500 were ever made. Look at this thing. It looks like a transformer mid-shift. Those massive fender flares aren't for show. They're there to cover the ultra-wide racing track. The hood scoop feeds a 3.5-liter Myvec V6, pushing nearly 280 horsepower. The weird Batman wings on the spoiler, they reduce drag and keep the rear planted at high speeds. Under the skin, it was a completely different beast.
It ditched the solid rear axle for a fully independent multi-link setup designed specifically for jumping dunes. The transmission was the Invex 2, a smart automatic that learned your driving style and held gears aggressively. It could do 0 to 60 in under 8 seconds on loose gravel. It was essentially a street-legal trophy truck, and today it is one of the most collectible SUVs in the world. With the Evolution leading the charge, Mitsubishi entered its golden era. From 2001 to 2007, they were untouchable. They won 7 times in a row. 7. It got so boring that competitors started quitting. Why spend millions just to lose to Mitsubishi every year? And it wasn't just the car, it was the drivers. In 2001, Jutta Kleinschmidt made history. She was a German physics engineer who decided to go racing. In a sport dominated by men, she took a Mitsubishi Pajero and beat everyone. She became the first and only woman to ever win the Dakar Rally. She didn't win because of marketing. She won because the Pajero was the great equalizer. It didn't care who was driving. It just refused to die. By the mid-2000s, the Pajero, or Montero, shifted to a monocoque unibody design with a built-in ladder frame. This made the chassis incredibly stiff, further improving handling. They had perfected the formula. So, if they were so good, why did they stop? Why is Mitsubishi today making boring crossovers like the Mirage and the Outlander Sport? The king died from 2 wounds. First, hubris. In 2009, Mitsubishi retired the gasoline Pajero and tried to race with a diesel prototype called the Racing Lancer. It was a disaster. It had turbo issues, cooling issues, and it just wasn't reliable. For the first time in decades, Mitsubishi looked weak. And second, the economy. The 2008 financial crisis hit Japan hard. Racing is expensive. When the accountants looked at the books, they saw millions of dollars being burned in the desert. They pulled the plug. Mitsubishi left Dakar, and with them, the soul of the company seemed to vanish. But every tragedy has a silver lining, and this is where you come in. Because the Pajero was sold as the Montero in the US, and because Americans are obsessed with Toyotas and Broncos, the Montero is totally undervalued. You can go out right now and find a Gen 2.5 Montero, that's the one with the blister fenders from the late 90s, for a fraction of the price of a Land Cruiser. You get the Super Select 4-wheel drive, you get the locking rear differential, you get the Dakar pedigree, and you get a truck that will likely outlive you. But you have to move fast. The secret is getting out. YouTube is waking up. The Radwood generation is waking up. The Pajero Evolution is already skyrocketing in price, and the regular Monteros are next. So next time you see that beat-up SUV in the parking lot, show some respect. You're looking at royalty.